Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing something very different than what my channel is usually about. But to those of you who actually know me, you know that I am a big fan of lore and speculation and everything like that. So I thought we could do my first proper speculation video. I've always been a bit scared doing these because if people don't agree with me, which I've now started to not give a shit about. So because of Pyromancer's balls, that sounds so wrong, because of the balls that he has with all of his crazy theories and stuff like that, I wanna come out with a not so crazy theory. It is a bit far-fetched, but it isn't actually if you think about it. So the story-driven riddle of Uuna was just solved. I am not going into details about it. Thanks to the secret finding Discord, we managed to solve it in quite a quick time, I would say. Quite little time, but you can find a guide and everything like that on Wowhead, and I'm sure that a lot of YouTubers has covered it. I haven't covered it personally because it is actually currently bugged for Alliance, which sucks. But there were a few interesting things that made me draw connections between the Shadowlands, Ny'alotha, zoth, and Uuna. How? Well, I'm going to try and explain it to you now. Uuna is an Eredar child who got bound to an Soul, those nasty looking creatures that just roam Argus, and released into the Shadowlands, where she was wandering in darkness alone. We, as the player, had to help her through a journey to save her, and while doing that we got to know some interesting things. At a later point in the riddle, Uuna is taken from us by something that looks like shadow tendrils. And to get to the next step, we actually had to die and talk to a spirit healer. What the spirit healer is saying to us is actually quite interesting. I have heard the cries of the child who speak of, I shall mark you that you may pass into this realm and seek her out. She resides in a place where the barrier between the realms of life and death are thin and spill over into your world. Be warned, you have no power in this place. Its denizens cannot be harmed by mortals. Try as you might, you may not be able to aid your friend. Side note to those of you who aren't exactly sure what the Shadowlands is, it's where our spirits go after our characters die. It's one of the 4 known planes, if we exclude the elemental planes, next to the Great Dark Beyond, the Twisting Nether, and the Physical Realm. So, a place where the barrier between the realms of life and death are thin and spill into our world, it might actually sound familiar to you guys. Yes, the same thing actually happened to the Emerald Dream from the Nightmare's influence, and the Emerald Dream and the Shadowlands are both linked with the physical realm. And who was in charge of the Emerald Nightmare? Yogg-Saron, the lucid dreamer. Savius was corrupted and sought to bind Azeroth and the Emerald Dream into one plane so they could seize control over Azeroth's residents while they were asleep, and giving shape to their nightmares. The new master of the nightmare is zoth, which was confirmed. I'm not supposed to go through a lot of lore in this video. I'm trying, but it will just end up being very long if I do. And since it's my first video, I don't want it to be like 30 minutes long. And so do you. Anyways, so let's continue with the Uuna secret and my connections. The next step is to find where the barrier is thin, and this brings us to the Emerald Dragonshire in Dragonblight. Here inside the eye of the skull of a dragon, you will find a shadow tear, and clicking on it says, a green dragon's tear cast in shadow by unknown forces. I cannot really speculate much about this because it might just be because the shadow tear is located in the Emerald Dragonshire where there are several green dragons, but if we follow the path of zoth's influence on Savius, and that Savius corrupted and got Ysera's physical body killed, this tear might be a consequence of the death of Ysera, who was in charge of protecting the Emerald Dream, but also in charge of protecting Azeroth. So without Ysera, who is really watching over Azeroth? So when we click on the tear, we get teleported into a dark forest in the Shadowlands, where Uuna is standing in the middle. Unexpectedly similar to the Yogg-Saron's puzzle box quote, there is a little lamb lost in a dark woods. I am familiar with the speculation that the quote is about Garrosh during Mists of Pandaria, but this quote is almost too perfect to be a coincidence. So I'm just gonna roll with it, because Uuna is Eredar, she's a space goat, goats, lambs, they're in the same family, so we can see it as like a literal quote about Uuna and not just one of those cryptic ones. Even a quote from Yasharaj states that when you will walk among the Black Forest, you will see. There's a lot of Black Foresty stuff when it's about the Old Gods. To save Uuna in this scenario encounter, we have to deflect soul eaters from consuming her. And who loves to devour souls? Ny'alotha. To get to my point with this video, I just had to explain my thoughts about the Uuna secret and its connections. All in all, it's looking like Uuna is only the beginning of an exciting part of new World of Warcraft lore, where we might finally get some answers to stuff like Ny'alotha and zoth. So first, we need to establish a more clear connection with the Old Gods and the Shadowlands to get more of a proof. Since the Uuna scenario might have been just that, a secret without much lore behind it. But I am actually not thinking that, because Blizzard sure loves to test out mechanics in earlier patches or earlier expansions. But anyways, to get a connection, we will start with Arthas as the Lich King. The Lich King gained rule over the Shadowlands with the help of the Valkyr, and obviously his powers raising the dead. This was obviously before Arthas became the Lich King, so the Lich King had these powers to begin with. So Blizzard has stated that there is a connection between Yogg-Saron and the Lich King, and that it has a lot to do with the ability for mortals to be corrupted, and also the heavy usage of Saronite by the Scourge, which is the blood of Yogg-Saron. Arthas might have not been working with Yogg-Saron, but Yogg-Saron had influence over the Scourge by them using Saronite, which would help the Lich King and the Scourge to build new weapons and buildings. And the fun part is Yogg-Saron has the title the God of Death. And also a quote from Herald Vlash, a champion of Yogg-Saron, where he states that the All Gods, they do not die, they do not live, they live outside the cycle. I will get back on that in a minute. Anyways guys, so let's have a look at some of the whispers and quotes relevant to All Gods and Ny'alotha. Two quotes that sort of mean the same. You will rest in Ny'alotha, and then N'zoth, I journey to Ny'alotha, said by Il'gynoth in the Emerald Nightmare raid when he dies, suggesting that Ny'alotha is some sort of afterlife. In the land of Ny'alotha there is only sleep. In the sleeping city of Ny'alotha walk only mad things. This might actually be a reference to all the minions and cultists that follow the All Gods in the physical realm, because the All Gods' power is so powerful, and that their maddening and destructive influence tear away the sanity of their followers and general inhabitants. But maybe as they die, their spirits don't rest, continuing to be mad even deep into the afterlife. So next one is Ny'alotha is a city of old, terrible, unnumbered crimes. Same as the previous quote, Ny'alotha might be filled with not only monsters but spirits of the All Gods' followers, and in their worship they have done terrible crimes. In the sunken city he lays dreaming, N'zoth dreaming, sleeping. So my thoughts with all of this is that yes, N'zoth's physical manifestation is located in his prison somewhere on Azeroth. There's no doubt about this because of all the proof in the Chronicle and everything about that. But with his mind, he has somehow managed to seep into the Shadowlands, unless they already always were, because of the quote from Herald Vlash, where he states that the All Gods, they do not die, they do not live, they are outside the cycle, meaning that the All Gods can be interdimensional. So they can actually function and exist in all planes. And Ny'alotha could be a city, or a plane, or actually both. I don't doubt that Ny'alotha is a physical place down in the ocean, or actually as far down into the crust of Azeroth, like a hollow bubble with a city inside of it, but it must be absolutely massive. Nonetheless, the All Gods do have connections to the Shadowlands, which the connection is definitely there, especially in terms of speaking of an afterlife or a dream state. And if we end up raising Ny'alotha from the crust or the sea, whatever it is, it will tie in with the Shadowlands in some way or another. And if my speculations are correct, with N'alotha trying to make the Shadowlands seep into the physical plane, then what is his end goal? I do not know, but what we do know is that N'alotha, he consumes souls. So the Shadowland would be the perfect place to consume them, endless souls from wandering spirits. This might even be a way for him to gain power, to sort of his little energy bar rising up because of all of the souls that he is devouring in the Shadowlands. And since he has been slumbering for so long, he might have managed to always have a foothold in the plane of the Shadowlands, like I've said previously, with them being interdimensional and everything. Or if we take the lore behind the Rift of Oln, which is located in the Emerald Dream, which is supposedly a rift that seeps into the different planes, that's how N'alotha got a mental foothold in the Shadowlands, by going from the nightmare through the rift and into the Shadowlands. So has solving the mystery of Uuna showed us a glimpse into what's to come with N'alotha and Ny'alotha? I personally don't know. I think so. I hope so, because this is really cool. Well, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick, brief, not that quick, speculation video. I spent a bit of time on this. It's definitely something different than what I've been doing recently, so I hope you guys enjoyed. If you agree, or if you have any opinions on this, then please comment down below. If you know anything else, please comment down below. Maybe we can make a part 2 after more things are a bit clear and stuff like that. I also want to know more connections between the All Gods and the Shadow Realm, Shadowlands, to be able to draw a more clear connection other than the just the whispers. So thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!